Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Fires upfield into the end zone, and it's caught! Jelani Woods! Touchdown! INDY!
A 43-point night for Tyrese Halliburton.
How do you like that, partner?
Renew now, drives in low, throws up a shot. It doesn't go. Tipped up and in by Anthony Leal. Indiana takes the lead.
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
Now, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard. Post July 4th, Friday. I hope you're having a great day, whether you're on today, off today, whatever the case may be. We've got you covered. Another great program lined up. Zach Osterman from the Indy Star will join us. We'll have Todd Hollowell, one of the best fishermen around that you may not know. But Xavier Johnson will also join us here on the program today. Looking forward to that as well. So hope you have a great day. I had a great July 4th. I heard the fireworks going on for quite some time. I don't know if I went to sleep before they ended or they ended before I went to sleep. But it was John, did you burn your sparklers and snakes?
Oh yeah, those were done before sundown, the snakes and sparklers.
Before sundown?
They're always worth every penny.
Why before sundown?
Well, just because they don't last very long.
Well, there's that, but you just have to get more.
Yeah.
They
were so popular, they run out. Once the snakes and sparklers are gone, you're toast.
Well, were you the head of the fireworks committee in your?
Oh yeah, the pyrotechnic. We'll say that works.
Were you the head of pyrotechnics?
Oh yeah. Any and all fireworks go through me. See, the dog isn't too happy about it either.
I guess not, man. They never are. So yeah, lots going on. Looking forward to talking to our guest today. How about the Reds sweeping the Yankees? That's pretty cool. They go up to Yankee Stadium and take 3 out of 3 from the Yankees. So congratulations to them. Former Toronto Raptor Jonte Parker became the first NBA player in 70 years to be banned for gambling. That happened back in April. Now he's facing federal charges for his role in a scheme that netted some bettors millions of dollars, in which he took himself out of games and basically contributed to this craziness. And I'm like, people, you are going to get caught. Number one. Number two, you're playing in a professional sports league. You're making money that most of us can only dream of. What is wrong with you? Seriously, people are they're just nuts, man. Appreciate everybody today jumping up the Andy Moore Honda hotline and, of course, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, driven by Andy Moore Honda. Just go to andymoorehonda.com and get more to your door and the best in new and used vehicles, along with the Autograph app, where real fans get unreal rewards. Just go to your Apple app or Google Play Store today and download the Autograph app. Use ISB Media as your code so they know where you come from. Autograph, where unhinged fan gets unhinged unreal rewards. Everybody on the Andy Moore Honda hotline jumping on. Appreciate you. Let's see. Any questions? Got to have the Joe Dirt references, Tanis. Got to love them. Let's see. Nothing. Santa Claus. Brad down in Santa Claus says a lot of locals are waiting on fireworks until Saturday due to the weather. Not a bad idea. Plus, if you spread it out, there's going to be more tonight, being that it's Friday, and then probably more on Saturday. So there is that. You got that going for you, which is nice. Plus, I hope it does rain all day today. I not taking yesterday off. May take the rest of today off. Mercy. looking forward to that. Just a relaxing weekend as then things start to get busy. Like I said, the next week, you've got the beginning of the 3 SSB Adidas Championships going on down in Rock Hill, South Carolina. The Peach Jam follows that along as well. So plenty to get busy on and looking forward to that. What else we have going? Indiana with more recruits coming in. I think I mentioned UNC Greensboro has been added to their non-conference basketball schedule. That was announced. Another team released on that. And one of Indiana's commitments, the 2025 class, Christian Brothers College High School defensive end Tristan Abram, committed back on June 23rd. He speaks to the Hoosier.com. Make sure you go to the Hoosier.com and become a subscriber. It's only $10 a month, and keep up with what's going on. Philip asking, oh, yeah, am I pulling a meteor in a little red wagon? Nope, I am not. But isn't there a meteor supposed to come through here at some point of lately? But that wasn't a meteor. That was a big old hunk of space poopy. Great movie. Great movie. John Boy, how was your 4th overall?
You know, the 4th was good. I think I mentioned before that I'm not a big fireworks person, and it's mainly just because since I've had a dog, it's not pleasant to see the dog be unhappy about all the booming and explosives and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, it's still nice to be out by the pool with the family and seeing all the fireworks shoot up around the neighborhood. So it was a good 4th of July yesterday.
Yeah, animals do not like fireworks. Horses,
No.
would always have to put the horses up. And, you know, dogs are. Why is it that it's the dogs you have to worry about, not the cats?
Cats are just really good at minding their own business. And I guess they're more comfortable with whatever it is they do in life. I've never owned a cat, but
they take care of themselves. They're like, I don't need you.
They do.
Until I need you.
Cats show up when they want to be around you. If they don't want to be around you, you won't see the cat.
Yes, that's exactly it. I don't need you until I want to need you. That is my interpretation of cats.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good. The WBC, that's the World Boxing Council, has expelled boxing star Ryan Garcia from any activity within the organization after he repeatedly used racial slurs against Black people and disparaged Muslims in comments live streamed on social media. What the hell's wrong with this guy? WBC President Mauricio Saluman announced the penalty Thursday on social media platform X. We reject any form of discrimination. Well, yeah, I mean, that's crazy. I fear for Ryan's well-being as he has declined multiple attempts for our help with mental health and substance abuse. It wasn't clear what sanctions the WBC would take against Garcia, who is serving a 1-year suspension now from the New York State Athletic Commission after a positive test for performance-enhancing drug Osterman. The suspension is retroactive to Garcia's April 20th decision victory over Devin Haney, which was overturned in a no contest. Garcia posted an apology of sorts on X. I was trolling. I want all the killing to stop, Garcia wrote. I love everyone. Sorry if I offended you. I didn't see what he said or did, but it sounds pretty unbelievable. Hard to come back from that for a minute. So good luck to him with that. But that's a little wild to do it on a wild live stream. That would be just a little crazy. A little crazy. Gonzaga landed number 38 recruit. There's not a lot going on right now. Houston and Kansas will and Kansas and Arizona will only play one time next year in the Big 12 Conference, which that reduces some of the great games. Not sure why that is, but it is what it is. Let's see what else. Leading a question here. John, how are you doing from Southport? We appreciate you as well. But yeah, and John Boy, what are your plans for the weekend?
Plans for the weekend? I think I'm just going to relax. I don't think I have any big plans for this weekend, but sometimes that's the best way to go about doing it.
Yes, I agree, sir. I agree. I haven't looked at the weather to see what that's going to be like, but that always can dictate things. It's going to be a relatively decent weekend. Like I said, Saturday in central Indiana, 85 degrees for a high, no rain. So there you go. Rain today, though, 100%. And I heard the thunder boomers as we were about to come on. So,
oh yeah, did you see the what's his name? The Joey Chestnutless hot dog eating contest yesterday?
No, I heard about it. Him and he took on. Didn't he eat more than like 4 or 5 guys combined?
I don't remember what exactly the number was. I just know that the winner set a personal best. So whatever his number was, it was his best amount of all time. But I can't watch the hot dog eating contest no more. It's disgusting. And I know that's part of the fun of it, but for some reason the older I get, the harder it is to stomach watching it.
First of all, I'd like to know who come up with this. I agree with you. It's a stupid thing. It's wasteful, it's gluttonous. It's an achievement of gluttony. And you think about the people there are people that are still starving in places, and not exactly something you like showing. Oh, look how much food I can eat. So let's see. I think Joey Chestnut devoured 57 hot dogs and buns Thursday in a 5-minute exhibition at Fort Bliss Army Base in El Paso, Texas. That fell one shy of the winning total to the men's 10-minute Nathan's hot dog eating contest on Coney Island, from which Joey Chestnut was banned this year. So in half the time, he ate one less hot dog than was consumed in that event. Yeah, banning him was stupid. I'll be honest with you. That's your name, man. They're looking for Joey Chestnut now, not the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. In my opinion, I think. Pat Bertoli, how do you say that? Bertoletti. Pat Bertoletti ate 58 hot dogs at Nathan's contest earlier in the day to win the mustard belt awarded to the champion. He was one of 4 competitors this year, only 4 to eat 50 or more, something no one did last year when Chestnut won his 16th title with 62 hot dogs. Those guys did great, Chestnut told USA Today. A lot better than last year. I'm really happy for Pat. So I don't know how they do that with your stomach. I mean, he's not overweight, so he doesn't eat a ton all the time. Is it something you do right before? How do you stretch your stomach to be able to do that? I wouldn't think that's good for you, healthy wise. Nuts. But it is what it is. And the fact that we spent so much time talking about it is even crazier. Justin says the Badlands gets the lemonade chugging record. Well, there's that. That sounds a little healthier, a little better. And then Tana says, wait, are we talking about the female cop? I'm not sure what that's about. I guess I missed that one, John Boy. But let's take a break. It's time to do that, and we'll come back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio. On the program today, Zach Osterman from the Indy Star, Todd Hollowell, All-Star Fisherman, and Xavier Johnson joining us on the program as well. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
In the market.
All right, I'm going to grab some coffee. I'll be right back.
Oh, man. Man, that just feels good. I don't know why, but it does.
All right, I'm back. So Zach is coming on at 9:10 today as opposed to 9:30?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, 30 seconds.
On South Walnut in Bloomington and is your one-stop shop for high-quality meats, bakery items, and now fresh seafood. Chop Shop Market and Table has the largest selection of in-house made products around and everything you need to make a gourmet meal at home. Or pick out a tomahawk steak or a grouper filet and enjoy it cooked to perfection in Chop Shop Steakhouse. Chop Shop Market and Table, a part of the Wild Food Group, is your butcher, baker, and fish house, no matter where you live.
This segment is brought to you by RE/MAX Advanced Realty, Indy Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Friday. Thank you so much for being with us. Brought to you by Cheryl Sizemore and RE/MAX Realty. For those in the market for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore and her 2 decades of experience. Reach out to her, Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. Zach Osterman joining us today on the program, as well as big-time fisherman Todd Hollowell from ironically, Fishers, Indiana. How'd that work out? Perfectly, I guess. Trent Sisley, we talked about earlier in the week, heading to Montverde Academy to play his senior season in basketball. And there has been some people, obviously different thoughts on it, but there is just no question that is in his best interest as far as his game, his improvement. It's a tough decision. It was a tough decision for him and his family, without question. And because he's giving up a lot. He's giving up the fact of being an Indiana All-Star. He's giving up the chance to chase being Mr. Basketball. He's already set all the records at his own school. He's the leading scorer, rebounder, all kinds of things, virtually every record. And that happened in the first 3 seasons. So even though some people are going to criticize it, I think this is not somebody's chasing better offers for college. He's simply trying to get better. And so I think that he made the right move, in my opinion. And I think this is going to be best for him. He's already announced his top 5 finalists with Indiana, Iowa, Michigan State, Notre Dame, and Purdue. So this has nothing to do with recruiting. And I've said that over and over. I don't see any changes in those. He's making his visits. He's already has his visits scheduled. So for those that, yeah, it would be great to see him stay in state, but so you just have to do what's best for you sometimes, and that's not always the popular thing. It depends on the reasons as well. And to me, his reasons are as pure here. It's an incredible opportunity. Just think about the team that Montverde had last year. You've got Cooper Flagg, Liam McNeely, Asa Newell, all these good, like 6 guys, not just their starting 5, but 6 guys, all that were heading to big time Division I schools. That's the talent you're playing against every day in practice, alone, with and against. Then the level of talent you play against in your games is just exponentially raised, which means your game is raised, which means you're also getting to work on your game. He's not going to be forced to play center against these smaller teams where he's going to get double and triple teamed. So he is mimicking what he is going to be facing in college now, or will be, because that final year in high school, otherwise, if he had stayed here, would not have done anything for him to work on that. And this will allow him to do just that. So anybody that has criticism for that decision, all I can say is I don't think that you have all the information. I don't think that you're understanding the situation completely. And I think that you're looking at it with a skewed vision. But it is what it is. And I do hate that players like him and Jalen Harrelson that are still Indiana guys don't get that chance to be an Indiana All-Star. I understand the reasons they're not, although they're here, they're from here, they're not playing in here. But what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts? Things have changed so much. It's not like it used to be. These guys, these upper elite level guys, are trying to be as good as they can possibly be. And back in the day, this wasn't really a thing. When I was in school, was it Oak Hill Academy in Mouth of the Wilson, Virginia was like it, or the one up in the Northeast. They just weren't these places weren't so prevalent. And then there have been more that have come along, IMG, places like that offer these guys, but it's a different age. And something else that a lot of people may not realize, but the state of Florida recently enacted legislation allowing high school players to be eligible for NIL, name, image, likeness. So theoretically, Trent Sisley, I think, or Jalen Harrelson, or whom? Well, not Jalen because he's playing for Lalu, but someone like Jalen or Trent, who is at a Florida school now, he can get NIL. He can get a sponsor. He can get this or that. So, difference there as well. Brad says he agrees the best decision for him without question, and it is. Thank you. Van will miss watching him play, especially against his Washington Hatchets, and I understand that. That's the part I understand. It's a give and take. There's good and there's bad, but the Hoosier, the Heritage Hills community will miss watching him. Brad says, but a lot are looking at making a trip to Florida. That's incredible that that support is there. But yeah, and I agree, Justin. NIL for high school kids is wild. That's where we're coming up. That's where we've gotten to now. But that is the case, and that's how it's going to be. So what else would you do? We're there. And that's how it's going to be. I don't know that goes any further. There will be other states that do that. And then how does that impact? Does that start to impact things this is why I hate politicians getting involved in sports to a degree like this. Should high school kids be allowed? Should there be NIL for high school kids? Well, I don't think so, because I can't imagine that a high school is benefiting so much from a particular sport that it is making that big of a difference. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't some, especially with Indiana having so many of the largest gyms in the country, but it's not like they're not making millions of dollars here, people. So I don't know. It's a tough thing to look at, to judge, to weigh, because everything continues to change. But we'll see. Do other states follow? Of course, I know that there will be other states that follow. Florida is a more conservative state. It's sometimes surprising to see who does what. Indiana will definitely not be among those, I would imagine, especially being that they are the home of the NCAA, et cetera, et cetera. What does it mean? How? I can't imagine that it changes things that much, because places like Montverde and IMG are already looked upon at how they are. Now, football for, say, IMG, that could probably make a huge difference. I do not know if Montverde has a football program or not. It's a good question, actually, to have. Mark, appreciate you. Representing Fort Wayne, the fine folks, everybody listening there on Fort Wayne's only sports station, 1380 The Fan. Love everybody in Fort Wayne. Big baseball town, big sports town. And I would love to continue to remind people, the home of the NBA, the original home of the NBA, it's where the NBA came to be. And the original home of the Pistons. And what a cool name. One of the coolest names. I love it. I love cool names. The names that don't make sense, that's a little wild. Yeah, Fred, always great to have Zach on. Zach is extraordinarily well-read, and that's right. We love Fort Wayne, as well as all the other areas where everybody's from. But everybody listening, no matter where you are, on 97.7, the Ref, ESPN, always the right call down in the Evansville area or up in the region. on the voice of the region, 104.7, 12:30 a.m. WJOB. Appreciate everybody all over the place, all of our listeners on YouTube as well, where you can always find us, whether it meets in with your schedule or not. You can squeeze it in and catch it any time there on YouTube. And make sure you're a subscriber if not. And while you're at it, give me a follow on Twitter at Jim Coyle ISB. But yeah, go ahead and hit the subscribe on that. There's no cost to that. But speaking of which, would appreciate any of all of you being a subscriber to the Hoosier.com. That allows us to bring part of what the content that we're able to bring, and the travel, the coverage, going all the places, the coverage of Big Ten Media Days, coverage of all the road games. That stuff is not free, people. And that's why you hear us asking for support, so we can bring that to you. And so we appreciate that all the way around. Mark says that the NBA created in the kitchen of Fred Zollinger, owner of the Zollinger Piston Company. Exactly. Hence the Pistons, the Detroit Pistons, originated in Fort Wayne. So, and Brian pointing out that that Montverde does not play football, which I didn't think so, but a little surprising, but they have their hands in everything. I mean, they are an academy that is musical, is all kinds of things, but basketball is definitely their sport that they hang on to. Alan, down on beautiful Patoka Lake, just south of us. Great place to be. One of the little gyms of southern Indiana. So you down there doing some fishing? Speaking of, we're going to have somebody on for you today then. Todd Hollowell joining us. We'll talk about some of the great fishing spots. I know fishing is not something we normally talk about, but I met Todd on my way. Speak of Montverde, you want to bring it all together. I was on my way to the Montverde Invitational Tournament last year when I met Todd on the plane. He come up to me, said was a big time listener of the program, and we got to talking, and I just followed him. It was very cool. But these guys are from all over, but Todd is a big time fisherman in the world of angling, man, and he's been doing it for quite a while, and he's at the top. He's part of the Red Gold Tomato Pro Angler sponsorship all over North America. He's a big timer. He's gone somewhere every week, inviting me to go out someplace a while back, but it was last minute. I couldn't go. That would have been incredible. Just boom, bam, just pull those suckers in. I haven't been able to go fishing for quite a long time. We used to sneak into, I can spill the beans now, but I'm originally from southern Indiana, and we used to sneak into Valley View Golf Course. They just had a couple of small ponds, but let me tell you, these ponds had some nice big mouth bass in them, man. And me and my buddy Chris, God bless his soul, were in there fishing, and you're just, all you can hear is the topwater bait going across the water, and then that fish would hit, and you're like, oh, you're trying to be quiet, and because there's houses along, you're not supposed to be in there, but always fun, and I'm sure plenty of you do the same. Go out and have yourselves a good time fishing as well. But we'll talk about that for all of you that get out hitting the lakes this summer and hitting the ponds as well. So do a little something different today, bringing on Todd. But you know what? I know we have plenty of outdoor sportsmen out there. It's a sport, baby. He competes at it as a sport every weekend. So you got that going for you. Zach Osterman of the Indy Star is going to join us next here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by the Rusty Gator. And don't forget, John, if you can put up that sign, they've got a concert series for this summer that you've got Taylor Swift. These are tribute bands that are coming. Bon Jovi, Gran Torino, which I don't know what that is. No Fences, which is Garth Brooks. Back to back, you've got Billy Joel and Elton John tribute show. Cody Eichert will be back. He was awesome down there. And then Thunderstruck, AC/DC. I cannot wait for that one. I'm a big AC/DC fan. As you see the guitar over my left shoulder, signed by AC/DC right there for those of you that are watching. I've had that for about, 14 years now, thereabouts. But originally signed by the crew from AC/DC with David Johnson, of course, not Bon Scott. But we've got lots more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We're back with it and more right after this.
We'll be right back for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
If you're looking for a home...
Isn't it Brian Johnson?
Yeah, I said
Not that it
David,
matters, I
didn't
guess, but
No, it does matter. Yes, it is Brian Johnson. I don't know why I said David. You are correct, sir. We may have to use the second hour for the first hour today.
yeah, maybe. Zach says he'll be on in just a moment.
Yeah, Gabe was great yesterday.
He was.
He does? He loves in. Huh. Brian said he
All
caught
right.
a sea trout last night.
That's pretty cool. All right, here we go.
Honda Ridgeline's payment free for 90 days or get 0.9% APR financing for 36 months on a 2023 Honda Ridgeline. Go to AndyMooreHonda.com and get more to your door.
This segment is brought to you by Freethink Apparel. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is a post 4th of July Friday, a little rainy in South Central Indiana. We're brought to you, of course, by Freethink Apparel Promotions. Whether it's 20 t-shirts for a family reunion or 200 for this summer's basketball or softball leagues, they've got you covered. And they meet your printing needs. Their team of industry experts work with you to design a professional-looking, sales-generating web store for your custom-designed apparel or promotional merchandise. Whether it's a large corporation, small business, high school sports team, or a national account, Freethink Apparel delivers no matter where you are. Just visit freethinkapparel.com and get printing today. We've got Zach Osterman joining us from the Indy Star here in just a second. And Todd Hollowell and Xavier Johnson later after that. Looking forward to it. Zach, of course, on the Indy Star as the summer rolls on. Zach, how are you doing today? Well, still looking to get Zach on here. But as we head into this slowest part of the summer, but there's a lot coming up in this month of July. The AAU Circuit Championships will be beginning next week. Then the following week, you have the TBT getting underway with teams from Indiana, from Purdue, from Butler. Kyle Guy has a team. Fail Harder also in that region. So that's going to be exciting and fun. How many? I know a lot of you have already gotten tickets to that event, so we're looking forward to that as Zach Osterman joins us from the Indy Star. Zach, how are you, sir?
Hey, sorry, I'm not sure when my camera's not working, but I'm here.
I hear you. No problem. It's supposed to be the slow part of the summer, and it has slowed down, but it's just like it's always just a break between storms, Zach, because next week we've got the AAU championships firing up, followed by TBT happening. And then right after that, we've got Big Ten football media days. So no rest for the weary.
Yeah, I mean, this is, at least for me anyway, the time when the summer does, the year, I guess, does start to kind of accelerate again. I know the quietest time of year typically within an athletics department is right around now. And obviously there are athletes who are preparing for fall sports, and then basketball's on campus too. But, nothing is in season. A year like this is probably a little bit busier because you've got the Olympics, and obviously Indiana is always going to have some representation to the Summer Olympics. But there's kind of, in that world, there's kind of this mad sprint toward the end of the fiscal year. And then once you put that to bed, the fiscal year is July 1 to June 30. Once you put that to bed, you obviously, that's when kind of, if you're talking about like when do all the department employees take their vacations and things like that, it's right now. In my experience, particularly kind of in the sort of portal era, I guess, if you want to say, the quietest time to me is typically end of May to early mid-June, until athletes kind of start coming back onto campus and everybody starts sort of powering up. But June is probably, like, I think on the beat, generally the quietest month. Not that there's never anything going on, but this is the time of year when college athletics is kind of catching its breath, so to speak. And like I said, the train is going to start accelerating here toward, actual sports by by the end of the month, we're going to be talking about the start of fall camp.
Yeah, it's right around the corner. And of course, this year, Big Ten football media days, 3 days stretched out now. It went from 2 days to 3 days with the addition of UCLA, USC, Oregon, and Washington, which that's going to be interesting to see some of these newer voices. And they're newer to their schools, as a matter of fact. Washington with a new coach, UCLA with a new coach. I'm drawing a blank on Oregon's coach.
Dan Lanning.
But Dan Lanning has been there for a few years.
Been there for 2 or 3 years. He's obviously been very successful too. So yeah.
Right. And then you've got USC and Lincoln Riley, who there's a little bit of pressure on Lincoln Riley at USC to perform this year.
Yeah, I think, there was sort of a feeling, and to be fair to Lincoln Riley, I don't think he ever said this, but I think there was sort of a feeling when he left Oklahoma for USC that, maybe there was a bit of a desire almost to go. Oklahoma was bound for the SEC, and the Pac-12 has always been USC's conference, historically speaking. I think there was maybe a feeling like he was, you know, kind of moving west a little bit for the opportunity to, you know, be in the, you know, the driver's seat rather than kind of having to fight for that position in the SEC. You know, USC and Oklahoma are both, you know, historically remarkable programs, obviously, historically successful. But yeah, last season, you know, in particular, I think they only won 8 games last season. And, you know, that was with the returning Heisman Trophy quarterback who eventually went number 1 overall. And I don't think anyone would suggest that, you know, I mean, I don't think anyone serious suggested that Caleb Williams was the reason that USC only went 8-4 or 8-5, or I think they just won 8 games. So anyway, the point is, you know, I think this one thing that's kind of always followed Lincoln Riley around a little bit has been the question about whether or not he can, you know, pick a good defensive coordinator and can, you know, can build a team that's not just sort of high powered on offense, but constantly chasing itself on the scoreboard. And I think that's, you know, probably a fair question when you look at kind of the breadth of results. But yeah, I think there's probably going to be some, you know, I don't want to necessarily say, you know, win or get fired, but I think there probably will be, you know, a decent amount of pressure on Lincoln Riley. And I think the other thing worth saying too is, you know, we don't need to talk about what led to it, but last year the athletic director that hired him, Mike Bond, resigned, and there was a scandal around that and everything. But the point is, you know, anytime you are a major football or, you know, basketball coach, or, you know, frankly, probably just about any coach, and you're the AD that hired you leaves, you know, if you are in any way maybe having your job performance questioned, you're probably going to sit a little bit less easy, you know, just in terms of not feeling like you've got the full-throated support of whoever's, you know, behind him, whoever comes in behind them. And so point is, I would agree. I would say that Lincoln Riley is probably looking at, I don't know if it's a make or break year, but certainly a year where he could stand to answer some questions about himself.
Absolutely. And he is, like I said, along with Dan Lanning, who is, as you mentioned, doing very well in Oregon. As a matter of fact, if you look at Athlon Sports, their predictions, which that you take some of this with a grain of salt because they're made far in advance. Not all the information is in, but of course, Ohio State listed at the top of the Big Ten, but right behind them is Oregon with Dan Lanning, who, if it weren't for Michael Penix Jr. and Roma Dunze and Kalen DeBoer, might have been playing for a national championship last year.
No, I mean, you know, and I'll hold my hand up and say I was one of the first to be a little bit skeptical of Dan Lanning at Oregon, of that hire. And obviously it's only been 2 seasons. You know, you never want to go overboard, and you know, he's going to have to replace a quarterback just like Washington is, just like USC is. But Lanning, you know, he was really young when he was hired. And obviously, you know, kind of coming from, if you look at his background, you know, he's got a little time out west, but a lot of his time has been spent, you know, Alabama, Memphis, Georgia, even Sam Houston State, Pittsburgh, whatever. You know, going out to the West Coast, going out to the Pacific Northwest, could he recruit well? Could he kind of re-energize that Oregon brand that had kind of slumped for a while after obviously really kind of peaking around the late 2009s, early 2010s. He's been outstanding. And, you know, I think Indiana's good fortune that it won't see Oregon on the schedule this year, frankly. You know, that if you're going to have to play, you know, if you're going to have to take 2 teams in this first year of the 18-team conference, out of the Pac-12 4, you'd rather face the two that are breaking in new head coaches, and new quarterbacks, and a lot of question marks on their own, in UCLA and Washington. Because you would imagine USC will reload and at least be pretty good. We'll see kind of how good. But Oregon under Dan Lanning has just been outstanding and has kind of continued to recruit at a frankly elite level. Even through the transition over to the Big Ten.
Yeah, 22-5 over the last 2 seasons alone, and they will have the services of Dylan Gabriel at quarterback, probably the best quarterback in all of the Big Ten this season. So they're going to be looked at as, to me, the team to challenge Ohio State for the top 2 spots this year. Above Michigan. Michigan losing their coach, of course, Jim Harbaugh, and they also lost half of their offense. So those are the 2 teams that are probably going to be fighting for that top spot, but we'll have to see. Ironically, of course, or not ironically, but Indiana, of course, is listed at 17th out of the 18 teams. That is usually based on past performance of Indiana and the name. Just Indiana just. When you think football, everybody just until Indiana does something, and even when they do it once, it's not going to be enough. They're going to not be viewed as a potential candidate to do much. But I've had this discussion a ton of times. I can't remember if I've had it with you or not, but there is actually a path for Indiana to start the season 6-0, as crazy as that sounds, with UCLA being a caveat there in the 3rd week, a road game at UCLA. But there is a legitimate path for Indiana to go 6-0 with the 2 non-con games before UCLA that has a new coach, a lot of new players on a team that was decent last year. But then you come back, you play Charlotte, you've got Maryland at home and Northwestern on the road. And Maryland is not going to be easy. Loxley has done a great job, but they don't have Tonga Bailoa anymore. But that is, at worst, we're looking at a potential 5-1 start for Indiana, and from a team that went 1-8 in the Big Ten last year, that would be remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, we do this every year in basketball, where we say, like, who's the favorite? How do we put all these teams together? And it feels like for the last 3 or 4 years, when we've all kind of gotten together and put our preseason basketball projections together, we've kind of gotten to a place not very far down the list where we've said, okay, you could tell me this team's going to finish 2nd. You could tell me this team's going to finish 10th. Like, I just don't know. There's so much turnover. Coaches obviously change now, but even more than that, of course, rosters change so much. I know you and I have talked about the schedule. I've talked about it with other people as well. I mean, it is, frankly, probably the inescapable talking point of this sort of off season for Indiana, because it does set up so potentially, comfortably, if Indiana can take advantage. If anything, like I've even talked to some people, maybe in the more sort of national sphere in college football, that have said that they're tempted to almost look at it like Indiana should make a bowl game, just because the schedule, 8 home games, a very navigatable non-conference, and then you talk about the way that, in particular, the first kind of 2 months of the schedule set up for Indiana. You don't play Penn State, you don't play Oregon, you don't play USC, and you don't play Michigan or Ohio State until the last two of the last 3 weeks of the season. So, it's one where I still don't think there's going to be a lot of expectation on Indiana. And you're right. I mean, those things tend to be kind of built around past performance, and also built around, again, a certain measure of uncertainty, a certain measure of, listen, we can't know for certain because so much has changed. New staff, 50 whatever new players. You can't sit there and say, well, I like the vibes around Indiana, so I'm going to pick them to finish 7th. Like, that's not how this works. But I think even outside of the IU bubble, I mean, I've talked to people who look at Indiana's roster, Indiana's offseason work, obviously Kurt Signetti's background and his staff's background, and then they look at the schedule and this, like I said, that they're almost tempted to say Indiana, frankly, should make a bowl game. And then the question is, is that a bowl game at 6-6? Is it at 7-5? Is it at 8-4? Those are obviously heady expectations. You talk about Indiana went just 1-8 in the Big Ten. They've only won what is it? I think 4 games, 5 games, 6 games in the Big Ten in the last 3 years. So, it's not like there's a lot of recent history to base that on. But this roster's not built around a lot of recent history. I mean, if we sit here and we go, through it, if we were able to mock up a 2 deep, assuming a general bill of good health right now, I'm guessing at best 40% of it would be returned from last year. Probably less than that, probably more like 20. So, it probably somewhere, I would guess somewhere like 25 to 30%. So the point is, you can talk about what Indiana was a year ago, but Indiana is a substantially changed team now. And, I think there's reason to believe it's for the better. Obviously, you need to see it on the field to know it for sure. But, this goes back to what I said at the top, which is these predictions are so difficult that it's just, you just kind of have to wait and see in some respects.
Absolutely. Zach Osterman from the Indy Star. I hope you have a great rest of your 4th of July weekend, my friend.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Make sure you give Zach a follow. Brought to you by The Fresh Fork, where you can enjoy healthy, delicious meals at home without the hassle. With The Fresh Fork, chef-curated, ready-made meals delivered right to your doorstep. Proudly fueling IU athletes and now available to you with a menu that's always fresh and diverse. From hearty proteins to fresh salads, The Fresh Fork empowers you to make better food choices without compromising. Order online and let The Fresh Fork help transform your lifestyle for a healthier way of living today at thefreshforkonline.com. Use promo code RADIO20 for $20 off your first order. We're back with more after this, including professional fisherman Todd Hollowell from Fishers, Indiana, right after this break.
We'll be right back for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
In the market. Well, good day, sir.
Oh, I
No
think you might
audio.
be muted.
Let's see.
Well, he's not muted on my end, so let's have to check it.
Make sure your mic is not muted. And keep talking. Now you're muted. Now talk. Nope. Go into your audio settings at the bottom on this screen. Actually, there you should see at the bottom the says settings, and then go into that, and there should be a audio section. Hit that and make sure that your correct mic is hooked up. But keep talking so we can know when you.
Can you hear me now, Jim?
Yes,
there we
sir.
go. We got you.
Bingo. Your
That's all
IT
it
guy is
takes.
fantastic. Problem solved.
Problem solved. Problem not solved. Problem not solved. Wedding crashers. Problem solved. Problem
Happy
not
fifth.
solved.
Good morning and happy fifth.
Cinco de Julio.
There you go.
Hey, I just invented a new holiday. Cinco de Julio.
So when you say Senko, I think fishing lure. There's a lure called a Senko, and it's a fish catching lure. So see, everything relates to fishing with me.
Okay, then all right. Then I just invented a new lure, and we can call it Cinco de Julio.
I love it.
Too bad your name isn't Julio. That would be even better.
Cinco.
Yeah. I did not realize you were from Fishers. How ironic.
Ironic, right?
Isn't
I
that
chose
ironic?
that city carefully. It aligns beautifully with my mission.
Let's see. Major League Fishing, baby. MLF. Now, I'll ask you again, but quickly explain the umbrella of professional fishing.
Yeah.
Who's at the top? Is there one at the top, or are there multiple?
Only got about 30 seconds to go back. Just a heads up.
Yeah, it's really close to baseball. Think Major League Baseball. There's lots of different levels. I'm with the Major League Fishing Organization. There's a few different leagues out there, but the big leagues, that's the Bass Pro Tour, and they work all the way down to college and high school. So think like big leagues, AAA, AA, single A, rookie ball, and then the lower levels. So
here we go, guys. 5 seconds.
Very much like baseball.
Com for more details. This segment is brought to you by the Ugly Grouper. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Hey, welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Friday, Cinco de Julio. I just invented a new holiday, of course, brought to you by the Ugly Grouper, perfectly located down on beautiful Anna Maria Island, Florida. Whether you're already in the area or you will be, the Ugly Grouper is much more than just unforgettable meals, including locally sourced seafood. The Ugly Grouper has your favorite craft beers and cocktails, along with live music every day. It's family friendly, able to host private parties, and has the biggest grouper you've ever seen. It's the place to be on Anna Maria Island, Florida. Tell them we sent you. Just go to the uglygrouper.com for more information. I would say, speaking of ugly, if this was one of our normal guests that I can joke with, but Todd Hollowell checking in from Fishers, Indiana, and a member of the Major League Fishing Organization. And we have a lot of people that are listeners that are fishermen on here. Justin is talking about it. Brian's talking about it. I know Ross is always, I see pictures from just the other day. I think he was on Lake Barkley down in Kentucky, maybe. Someone was just on Patoka Lake. I visited my daughter not too long ago, which down in Kentucky, where you have the land between the lakes, that's Lake Barkley and Kentucky Lake, right?
Yes, sir.
And the affectionately known Castle on the Cumberland is the prison. Which lake is that?
That's on Barkley. That's correct. It's on Barkley. Yeah.
I was just down there for Father's Day. I was visiting with my daughter, but her stepdad kept saying, I got the Castle on the Cumberland coming up. And I was like, I had no idea. I thought he was talking about this unbelievably large house. And it was a big house, all right. But a different one. I mean, the Eddyville, their prison, it is right up against the lake, kind of like Alcatraz, but without the perils of the sea that brought.
That's right. It's there's some really good fishing right out in front of there. One of the better places on the north end of Barkley Lake. Yeah, those two lakes are connected by a canal. They built a canal, so barge traffic can go through there. There's a lot of commercial barge traffic that goes through the Cumberland. It comes up from Nashville and ends up there at the Barkley Dam, and barges come from East Tennessee, work their way all the way up Kentucky Lake to the Kentucky Dam, and then they lock through and end up in the Ohio River and in the Mississippi River, and they work their way all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. So it's a big waterway. Been there a long time, and it's a wonderful fishery. It's someplace that I've been going since the mid '90s, believe it or not, 30 years, and someplace that's very near and dear to my heart. And it's actually the headquarters for operations for Major League Fishing is in Benton, Kentucky, right there at Kentucky Lake.
A lot of our listeners commenting about the various things. Justin says he goes to Linville, Striper, the stripper pits, rather. It's his main man-to-made dug legs, of course. Wyatt says land between the lakes has some amazing ATV trails. Been there many times, and it's a blast for him. Brian says you can come down and fish for snook with him in Tampa Bay, then head over to Toho or Okeechobee, which is, good Lord, is that the largest lake in the country?
I do believe so. Fresh water down there in South Florida. It's the swamp, man. It's a lot of alligators and a lot of big bass.
Ross is the Lake Cumberland guy. Yeah, I see pictures from him as well. But I'm glad to see all these outdoorsmen on here. But this is what you do professionally, man. And first of all, you just got a I guess you'd say, is it a new position or is it an elevation? What is it?
Yeah. No, I'm happy to chat about that. And it's an interesting story. Jim and I met, I guess, on an airplane headed to Orlando, Florida this past winter. Jim was headed down to the Montverde, the Classic, I think the big event there at Montverde in Orlando. And my wife and I were headed down to see our son who's in college there. And, it's crazy how the world works. But my wife and I are both graduates of Indiana University. I grew up in central Indiana watching Bob Knight and all those teams. I went to high school in Anderson, Indiana, which was, back in the 70s and 80s, a big pipeline to Coach Knight and his program. We had Bobby Wilkerson, I think, played on the undefeated team of 76, and then Ray Talbert, who went on to play in the NBA, and then Winston Morgan and Stu Robinson, all people who impacted the program back in the 80s. But they went to my high school, and so my brother and I, my entire family, we're diehard IU basketball fans. So to run into Jim, that was pretty awesome. But I've just started fishing tournaments in 2002 with the Major League Fishing Organization and worked my way up through the ranks, I guess. And, I've had a lot of good mentors and kept me in the sport and kept teaching me, but I just kind of worked my way through the ranks and ended up at the highest level of the sport in 2012. I fished at that level. Back then it was called the FLW Tour, but 2012 to 2017, I've been representing Red Gold Tomatoes since 2012. And, just recently Major League Fishing, the organization, they've asked me to come on board and work with them. And I'm looking really forward to that. And so, kind of a new position for me, but it's all fishing related now, Jim. And I'm super pumped about that.
So what will you be doing with the organization? Are you the new, what's the the commissioner of NFL? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on his name, but I'm drawing a blank on every single commissioner's name at the moment. But so are you the new the head guy?
I am not the commissioner, no, but it's an interesting spot. I've been involved on the business side and the fishing side, which gives me a unique perspective here for a long time. And they've asked me to come in. I'm working in the front office. I'm doing some marketing and promotions duties and kind of helping with some of the new evolutions that are happening in the sport. We've got lots of new technology. We've got lots of new anglers coming to the sport. High school and college fishing are one of the fastest growing sports in the youth. The IU bass fishing team is a big time club. They've been around since the 80s and we're one of the leaders. And, so I've been working with some of their guys but probably getting involved with some of that the youth programs, high school and college fishing. Again, they're growing big time. So we've got a big high school fishing camp coming up next week at Murray State University. It's the largest high school fishing camp in the country. And so high school anglers can come in and learn from pros, and they can learn from the folks in the organization to try to figure out how to have a career in the outdoor space or how to become a professional angler and make a living in the sport. So super excited to be part of that next week.
That's pretty cool, man. Of course, now Murray State University, located down in southwestern Kentucky, is it just close to Kentucky Lake or Lake Barkley, one of the two?
It is. I was a baseball player. I went to Murray State. My brother was a baseball player. Ended up at Murray State also.
What?
And he kind of helped
here now. We got to come back to all of this in a minute.
Yeah. No, but I wasn't sure if we could say the word Kentucky on the show. I didn't know if that would be like bleeped out. I didn't know if that was allowed on the IU Sports Beat Radio, but you said it first.
Depends on what we're talking about. Sometimes people, it depends on what follows it. Sometimes people say the word Kentucky followed by the word sucks, or sometimes they say the word Kentucky and we're talking about lake. There's always.
That's right. That's right. That's a good 4-letter word to follow up Kentucky with, lake. It's the highlight of that state. We'll just put it that way. But no, Murray State, it's about 20 minutes from the lake there. And it's a great place. It's been near and dear to my heart. My brother lives not too far from there in Western Kentucky. So we spend a lot of time there. Been going there for about 30 years. And
where's your brother live?
really good right now. A lot of big smallmouth in the lake, and the largemouth population is good. It's usually one of the best and top fishing destinations for tournament anglers and recreation. The lake is about 150 miles long. It's a beautiful place to go and see. And you've got lots of listeners here that like to go down there and ride their four-wheelers, their ATVs, and see the wildlife. There's an elk and bison prairie and land between the lakes. This is a beautiful part of the country, and not too far from here, 3 or 4 hours from Bloomington and just a couple hours from Evansville.
There are a ton of great places to fish that you could just take a string and on the map, and you could put it in kind of central Indiana and draw a big circle around it. Kenneth asking about Geist Reservoir. I'm at Lake Monroe. There's Lemon Lake. There's so many. Patoka that I mentioned earlier, another man-made place. But then all the places down in Kentucky that we're talking about, Lake Barkley, Kentucky Lake. There are just a ton of waterways for outdoorsmen to get to. But I want to go back to, first of all, where's your brother live in Western Kentucky?
He's in Paducah. Just kind of about a half hour west of Kentucky Dam there.
Yeah, that's not far from where my daughter and her mom and stepdad have a place down there, and I don't think it's too far from there. They live in Madisonville, Kentucky, which
not too far. I'd say my brother's probably the best fisherman in the family, but he's gotten smart and settled down into work and life. He's married, got a 7-year-old girl. She's playing travel sports, but he's a diehard IU basketball junkie, man. He's buds with Todd Leary. I think they played golf together in the past, but we watch every game. We watch recruiting. We watch everything year round with IU basketball. And I would say just in the last few years, we've gotten involved with the women's program. Being in Fishers, Sydney Parrish transferred into IU, and we got season tickets. So we've been going the last couple of years watching the ball games. It's been awesome to watch that program, really become an elite program in the country. And we've got another young player here in Fishers that's a 5-star recruit, and she's headed to play for Coach Moore in here next year. She's in the class of 2025. But what's been interesting to me, just being an IU basketball fan, is understanding how much these players actually like fishing. I know Coach Cliff Marshall takes them fishing a lot down there in Bloomington. I love seeing the pictures of those guys. I've gotten to know Race Thompson a little bit over the last few years. He loves fishing. And believe it or not, just this past week, I've been getting pictures from this high school player who's she's coming to play at IU, but she's an IU women's basketball commit, and she loves bass fishing. And so it's awesome. Fishing brings people together of all ages and all genders, and it's something that we can get outside and enjoy creation and just do something different than what we're doing in normal life. So it's been awesome to just connect with people through the IU athletics program and tie that up with fishing, Jim, including you. We get you out on the water.
Well, you tried not too long ago. I just was not able to make it happen on such short notice. Because believe me, that would be amazing to get out there and take this thing and just accidentally lose it overboard. That would be an amazing. What's your brother's name?
Yeah, Troy. Yeah. He's up here. He came up to visit and hang out for the 4th of July. We had a nice celebration. In fact, he took my kayak out in our pond last night and got caught in that rainstorm. So he came in all soaking wet. But he was a pro angler too, and kind of runs in our family. Our parents they love being in the outdoors. They took us fishing when we were kids. We just kind of kept doing it. So we're very thankful for that.
And Todd lived in Paducah for just a little bit, not too terribly long ago. I remember that. So that's ironic.
Yes,
5 Lefts talking about. I forgot about. There's a couple of lakes above us. Up north. I forgot about those. I don't know how. Yes, that's right. I fish at Camp Crystal Lake, baby. I like to make it exciting. Someone just said they ran over. Ross saw his first armadillo at Lake Cumberland. Sadly, it was dead in the water. What the hell is an armadillo doing at Lake Cumberland, and why is it in the water?
I'm not sure. You never really sure what you're going to find when you go to Lake Cumberland. There's all kinds of crazy stuff that happens there. So
Jared Jeffries, not only a big time fisherman, he used to have a show, a fishing
TV
show on the Outdoor Network.
Right.
Any interaction with him?
I've never met Jared. I've watched his show over the years. I think he and I had a show that was airing about the same time on the World Fishing Network. I had a show called The Bass Doctor, and I watched Jared's show, and he did an awesome job. I've never met him or talked to him, but I'd propose that three of us need to plan a fishing trip one of these days.
Not only that, but I think we need to start having you and another guest on once a week to talk this stuff, because I could have talked a long time about this. And as a matter of fact, we may stretch this a little bit. Xavier Johnson's going to join us next. But for your new job with Major League Fishing is incredible. It seems like every weekend you're gone someplace. Are you home this weekend or fourth?
Yep, just for the next couple of days, I'm heading out Sunday, heading back down to Kentucky Lake for the camp at Murray State. That'll be next week, and then the weekend after that, I'll have a Major League Fishing weekend series event on Kentucky Lake. So I'm kind of headed back down there. That's where I'm at in my season, and then one of the things I love to do just for fun is to go up to the Great Lakes. I love to go to Lake Erie. I love to go to Lake St. Clair, Lake Huron up there and chase some of those big smallmouth bass. And it's nice because the weather is usually a little less hot than it is here when it gets all humid in July and August in Indiana. But yeah, my life revolves around fishing, and I'm trying to fish every chance that I get. And so yeah, it's Kentucky Lake, and then headed north for some smallmouth probably in August.
It's just always amazing, all the different fish that you can fish for. The one fish I always hated fishing for was the old paper mouths. I don't think I have the patience. Too used to that bass hitting there and setting that hook, baby. But I honestly couldn't tell you the last time I went fishing.
Yeah, we're going to change that. We're going to change that. You've been working too hard following all these sports. You do a great job though, and it's like I said, it's an honor to be on the show, Jim. We've been watching the show for a long time and do a great job following all the sports programs at Indiana and bringing everything to the fans. And I'm excited to be on the show, but we've got to get you in the boat.
I appreciate it, but I appreciate you following us. It was awesome getting to meet you when I did. Just like I said, it was. I'm always blown away when somebody recognizes me. I'm like, huh? But I greatly appreciate it. But man, I'm happy as can be, because that's the thing that opens up doors and opportunities, but friendships and things that I would never do or people would never do. That is what makes life interesting. It's the salt of life. It adds the spice, and I would love to go out and maybe start doing, and hopefully we can start doing something on a regular basis, just to add another element to the show. I love it because as you can see by the comments, tons of people love fishing. We've got a lot of listeners that live down in Florida as well through YouTube, in addition to all of our followers on radio here in Indiana. But where are some of the best places in Indiana to fish? From your perspective, that's
a really good question, and I think Indiana gets a bad reputation across the country as maybe not having really good fishing. But growing up here, I know we had some of the viewers in the comments there talking about the old coal mines and strip pits down in southern Indiana. My great grandfather was a coal miner, and that's kind of one of the places I started fishing was down in Linton and Duggar and Green Sullivan State Forest and all those ponds and pits down there. But that's some of the best fishing, some of the farm ponds and some of the gravel pits that have been filled in over the years. And, up here where I live in these concrete jungles up here around the big city, we've got a lot of neighborhood ponds, and there's some really good fishing in those places. In Indiana, if you can find private farm ponds, neighborhood ponds, those kind of things, those are some of the best fishing opportunities in Indiana. But, don't sleep on our reservoirs. We've got Morse and Geist up here in Indianapolis, and you've got some really good ones right outside of Bloomington there. Lake Lemon, Lake Monroe, which is the largest man-made body of water in Indiana. A lot of big events held at Monroe. And so lots of opportunities. Hoosiers love being outdoors. That's what I know. Hoosiers love being hunting and fishing and loving every day, like Luke Bryan would say. But lots of opportunities, and I love getting those young people out there and watching them fish. We had a bunch of people over for the 4th of July last night, teenagers, and they all pick up the rod and reel, and they all get their line wet, and they all experience fishing. And it's something that brings us all together. We all have good memories usually around fishing, and it's an honor to be working in the sport and getting to do it more often these days in my 40s. So I'm thankful for that.
Five Left says his high school football coach up in Michigan City wanted to rename their fight name from the Raiders to the Fighting Carps. Yeah, that's. I think I would have found a different fish to do there, but the Snappers maybe. Who knows? But yeah, man, it's been a blast, and I look forward to doing this a little more often, brother. You're awesome on doing it, and I cannot wait to do it again. We'll have to. So I'm assuming you're home all weekend, right? Did you already say that?
Yeah, I'm heading out Sunday. We're here for the weekend, but it's the 4th of July. It's always a fun weekend. Everybody's in a good mood, enjoying life and celebrating that independence. But yeah, I'm back on the road Sunday night, but we're kind of watching. We've got some local players up here around where I live that are kind of down. They've got Indiana down on their top 5 list. We're watching this Greenfield kid, and I've been watching Jalen Harrelson since he was, I don't know, a freshman or so in high school. We got some really good basketball up here in this part of Indiana. So we're watching these guys, and we're looking forward to the trajectory of the men's program. The women's program's been fantastic to watch and be a part of. And so the bass fishing team's doing their part too. They've had some success over the last 5 to 10 years. And like I said, Indiana sports, my wife and I are grads, and we bleed cream and crimson. And so, yeah, let's do this again sometime, Jim. And tell Xavier Johnson to get, I want to see some fishing pictures from him too.
Well, his dad is a major fisherman.
I've heard.
As a matter of fact. And so I need to connect you guys. But so tell me about this IU fishing team.
Yeah, no, they were one of the first teams. I think Indiana and Purdue were kind of led the charge in the country. They started their bass fishing teams back in the late 80s. And so it's a club sport at Indiana. Some of the other private schools in the country are giving away scholarships. I think there's about 20 schools in the country right now that are giving bass fishing scholarships to college anglers. Indiana is a club sport, but they're very competitive, being in kind of in this Big Ten area. A lot of good anglers coming from Indiana that go to school. They want to be in the Kelly Business School. They want to be doctors, nurses, different things in the medical field. And so they end up at Indiana, but they love fishing. So they're fishing on the bass fishing team, but they're highly competitive. Some of my good friends have graduated from Indiana over the years and went on to be successful in business, but they're still fishing competitively. And they learned a lot in their experience at Indiana, but they get to travel the country and participate in different college fishing events, kind of from New York to Missouri down to Texas and Florida. So they get to travel the country while they're in college. And usually they're raising money through the club to help pay for their expenses and everything. But it's a wonderful experience to travel, to learn to work as a team and be responsible and learn how to, manage a budget and different things. It's a great opportunity for them, not just with fishing, but just kind of learning in life. But the bass fishing team, we've got a couple of kids from up here in Indianapolis that I've gotten to know over the last few years. And so they have me come in and help them get prepared for a few of their tournaments, one down in South Carolina back in March, I think, and then another one at Kentucky Lake, which was in April or May. But some talented anglers on the IU Bass Fishing Club, and you guys will want to check them out too.
What makes a good fisherman a good fisherman?
That's the $1 million question, right? That's the question I keep trying to answer. For me, it's a lifelong learning experience. There's so much in life that we don't know, and when we go fishing, we're trying to hit a target that we can't see for the most part, and you're trying to get them to eat something that mimics. We don't use live bait. And so we're using artificial lures. So we're trying to figure out what they're eating and mimic it. And it's a real big puzzle that you have to put together. And a lot of times you can't see it with your eyes. So it's having an imagination and being willing to try things and being persistent, never giving up, all good qualities that will carry over to life. And I think fishing's been probably one of the most wonderful teachers in my life outside of the Bible and my family and friends. But it just teaches us so much about persistence, never giving up, and just trying to figure things out. If whatever you're using, if you're not catching anything in the next 5 or 10 minutes, you should probably change it up. And it teaches you to figure out what's working, what's not working, and not take things personally. But it's a big puzzle, and learning the different times of the year and what fish do and what kind of forage they're eating. It's quite the puzzle, but it's a lot of fun. And you mentioned that Cinco earlier. It is the Cinco of Julio, Cinco de Julio. Is that what you call it? The 5th of July, Cinco de Julio. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not sponsored by these guys, but it makes me think of the Yamamoto Cinco, which is one of the best bass fishing baits ever created. So if you're not sure what to do, just go buy a Cinco, put it on a hook, and throw it out in your pond, and you're probably going to catch a bass. There it is, Brian. I just gave it to you. The Cinco. You don't know what to buy. That's it. Just go out there and put it on a hook, Texas rig it, throw it out in the pond, let it sink to the bottom, and pick it up a few times, and you probably have a bass on there at some point in the day. But that's my bait of the day for Cinco de Julio. It's spelled a little differently. It's Senko, but I would choose the Yamamoto Cinco. There it is.
I remember as a kid, my grandmother would make these little dough balls with Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, yep, and go to a pay lake and catch catfish, I think, for the most part, down in southern Indiana. Bill's 5 Lakes, for those of you down in southern Indiana, it used to be a staple down there. Just 5 little lakes that were stocked all the time. People would come in there, pay lake, and I don't know how much fun that really is. It's kind of like you're guaranteed to catch something no matter what. But I would always. You talked about those farm ponds earlier before you joined us. I talked about. I had a good friend of mine when we were just out of high school, right around there. We would always sneak into. There was a golf course at home. We would sneak into those ponds. They were awesome and loaded with those bass. Man, it was boom all day long.
Right. That's right. And there's fishing and then there's catching. And, the one thing you always want to do when you're taking somebody that's not fished a whole lot is you want them catching. And so it's okay to use live bait. And we've had some fun over the years taking kids and people that are new to fishing, just taking them out and trying to figure out what all we can catch them on. We've used hot dogs. We've used I think one of the coolest things I ever saw was I had a kid try to see if he could catch a fish on a potato chip. And so he just took a hook and somehow got it to stick in the middle of a potato chip, and he threw it out in the middle of this pond, and he caught like a 7 or 8 pound catfish. Just came up and went and just ate the potato chip, went down and caught it. So he caught one on a potato chip. But my kids love, trying to catch them on, candy and gum and gummy worms is always a fun one to try. But it's what I do is all artificial lures. It's more specific on what we can and can't use. But that's really fun to get out there and to see what you can catch a fish on. It's awesome.
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out what Xavier Johnson's before we go to a break. Xavier, I pulled you in here right as we go to break. Todd Hollowell on. He's a professional fisherman, and I know that your dad is a major fisherman. Did that fall down to you? Do you do any fishing?
No, I don't. I only get back already.
Todd said he's going to try to change that. But Xavier Johnson joins us next here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Todd, thank you so much, brother. Look forward to doing this again.
Good to see you. See you, X. Have a good 5th of July. See you guys.
Thank you.
We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio, including Xavier Johnson, right after this.
We'll be right back for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Formerly, how's it going, X?
I'm good. How are you?
I cannot complain, man. I can't believe you don't fish at all with your dad as much as he loves it. He's ate up with it, isn't he?
Yeah. He love to go fishing, but I just can't do, the sun. I like getting on the boat and stuff like that, but I don't really do the fishing part.
It takes a lot of patience, a lot of time doing nothing.
Yeah.
Well. Can you turn your phone sideways?
Yeah, I got a.
Gives us the landscape view that way. There we go. Oh, nope. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. How are you? Where are you now?
I'm at my home right now. Yeah, in Virginia.
Now, isn't that kind of new? Is that a
For-
new house for you guys?
Yeah. My parents just moved in this house. I want to say May. Yeah,
I remember. He sent me some pictures of it. It looked awesome.
Oh yeah. It is really nice. I'm on the porch right now, on the back porch, a little patio.
Man, that sounds amazing because it's raining here, brother.
Yeah, it was raining yesterday for like an hour and a half. But the sun came back out though, and it was a good day.
Sun always makes it a good day. How is Pops, by the way?
Oh, he's good. He's good. They're right now. They're not even home. He's he's going through something right now. I don't want to put his business out there too much, but he's going through something right now, and I'm just praying for him. Everybody goes through what he's going through right now, but I think he's good though. I think he'll be all right.
Definitely thinking about him then. Man, I'm surprised they didn't get you locked into. I know you're working on other stuff, but they didn't get you locked into playing on that TBT team.
Yeah. I mean, our focus was right now is trying to get on a summer league team. Things aren't going in that way right now, but I'm just keep working and keep staying low and staying out the way and just working on my game. That's the only thing I can do right now. I can control.
That's it.
All right, here we go, guys. 30 seconds.
Nobody beats the prices and selection of Andy Moore Honda in Bloomington. Right now, get a brand new Honda with no payments for 90 days. That's right, 2023 and 2024 Honda Pilots, HRVs, CRVs, Honda Ridgelines, payment-free for 90 days. Or get 0.9% APR financing for 36 months on a 2023 Honda Ridgeline. Go to AndyMooreHonda.com and get more to your door.
This segment is brought to you by Hoosier Hanks East. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Friday post July 4th. Appreciate you being with us. Joined now by the great Xavier Johnson, former Indiana basketball point guard, and now turning to the professional ranks, working on your game. Execs, first of all, thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
As always, I know as soon as the season ends, it's not a break. It actually probably got a lot busier for you because you were looking toward the future immediately, which meant you had to not only stay working, but probably start working a little harder and doing a lot of different things. Is that pretty much the case?
Yeah. I probably took like a week off after the season and got right to work. Because you can't take too much time off, and you want to lose some of your abilities again. And especially with me, having an injury last year, and still recovering from the whole year. I couldn't take that much time off because I really didn't have a good year, and I struggled a lot. So I had a lot to work on.
Have you had to spend time proving that you're past that to people, the injuries?
Yeah. I've certainly had to, go when I went through the whole project, the little NBA process. I had to, prove that I still, had my athletic ability, because that's kind of what my game surrounds. So my game really vocalizes. I use my athletic ability a lot, pick up guys full court and use my speed. So I just still prove that I still have that, and I'm just waiting on my time.
I know you've had workouts with the Pacers, with Washington, probably a few others. First of all, what's it like going in to work out for an NBA team?
It's really hard. It's honestly really hard to even go work out for the teams. They have a schedule of who's coming in. Somebody doesn't make it, they have somebody else to come back in and take their position. Those workouts are really, they're really basketball based. You don't really run a lot in the particular workouts that I was in. You play a lot of 3-on-3, a lot of 1-on-1, 2-on-2s. They want to see you in like little small actions without the other players on the floor, making simple reads and things of that nature.
Yeah, and I know it keeps you busy, and it also is probably mentally draining because every time you go do a workout with someone, for someone, the hopes get up, your thoughts are, they're telling you different things, and you're trying to listen to it. And I'm sure it is very, very difficult mentally.
Oh yeah. It is difficult mentally, but I think Indiana really prepared me for something in that way. Because but being with Woodson, it's a lot. Everything's a lot of detail. You got to really pay attention and lock in, or unless you're not gonna play.
And I noticed I happened to see you on TV in New York at the NBA draft, supporting your Indiana teammates. That had to be a fun event. But there was a large Indiana contingent there.
Yeah. Going to the draft this year, being a 15 pick, going to the Miami Heat, he's in a blessed situation too as well, because I think he could really succeed there as a player too as well. He can show all of his abilities. But it's really a blessing to see like my teammates, even former teammates too as well, get drafted as well.
What was the experience like being in New York for the NBA draft? All those different players there, all the whether it's past greats, just everything involved with a draft. It doesn't even matter if it's NBA, NFL, or whatever we're talking about here. That's a big time event.
Me personally, I wasn't at the NBA draft, but
I thought I saw you on TV, man.
Oh yeah, nah, I look similar to a lot of people now. With my beard. No,
I remember going, hey, there's X.
Oh yeah, nah, yeah, nah. I do. Everybody thinks like I look like everybody else. So with the beard, so I might have to cut it off again.
You're sliding into anonymity, which could be a cool thing as well. But also there are other things that coming up. You're going to be playing somewhere next year, regardless. We know that, whether it's overseas or with an NBA team. And there's some stuff going on with former Hoosier Noah Vonleh right now over in China. I don't know if you've seen any of that, but
I've seen a lot of
that seems like a bad situation to be in. Our friend, a good friend of the show, Mo Creek. He was in a situation in Ukraine just a couple of years ago when that war broke out. I remember we had him on from over there. When you're overseas, some stuff can happen, man.
Yeah. You just got to go to the right place in the right spot. I got a lot of friends overseas, over the waters, and of course in the NBA too as well. So I get to hear both sides of each situations. Of course the NBA, is always a good situation, and playing in the G League too as well. But overseas is a grind. What a lot of people don't know, it really is a grind. I think you play like one basketball game a week, and you got all practices like the whole week. And then I think once you get there, you have like a month. I think one of my boys said you had like a month full of two day practices, and I'm like, man, it is a grind now. It is a grind, but that's what you got to. That's what you signed up for, and you got to work for.
Yeah, even like Jordan Hulls on the Indiana staff now. He was playing in Germany right up until he took the job that he has with Indiana. Literally walked off of the court and into his job at IU. He was playing at his highest level probably at the time as well with that. So he had a pretty good situation. And like you said, you got to watch where you go. And I would be afraid to go to a country like Russia or China or places like that and play, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah. I would love to go across the country. A lot of people don't get to go see other places. So basketball is really a blessing to play the sport, because it takes you all the way across the country. It takes you everywhere. I've been to a lot of places already. Basketball has taken me. It's really a blessing to actually get to play basketball overseas, any sport overseas, honestly.
Are there some places though that you're afraid to and don't want to go to? Now I doubt that they're listening, so you should be okay.
I'm scared right now a little bit because, I've been reading some of the little, I've been on Twitter, reading some of the politics things and things about Russia and us going to war. It's things of that nature. But that's the only place I'm probably really scared of right now.
Yeah, it is crazy when you get outside of your own country. Things do change, man. So, what do you spend your time doing right now as you're trying to? The summer league's about to come up. I know you would like to find a spot on one of those rosters.
Right now I'm working out. I'm at home. I just got home. I was in Indiana for I was in Vegas first for pre-draft, and then I came back to Indiana for like about 3 weeks, and then I came back. Now I'm back home. Now that I'm back home, though, I've been working out with a shooting coach because that's my biggest weakness, or I would say in my game, and that's what a lot of NBA teams evaluated me as. Not really a good shooter. One of my workouts I had a really good shooting workout. And I'm just trying to really work on my shooting and get it as consistent as possible. I'm gonna keep working at it every day because I think that'll make my dream come true. Because a lot of dudes get paid for shooting the ball, and I think I can't be a liability in the NBA if I want to play there and not be able to knock down a three ball.
We've got to get you hooked up with the shot father, Todd Leary, former Hoosier, who's a good friend of the show and contributes each week. He's one of the amazingly Indiana back in the 90s. Right now, if you looked into the record books of the top 11 all-time three-point shooters, 5 of those guys were on the same roster together. How mesmerizing is this? And Todd is one of those, but you had Todd Leary and Damon Bailey and Calbert Chaney and Pat Graham, just phenomenal shooting. 5 of the top 11 all time on the same roster.
Yeah, I think that's why they won a lot of games too.
That's right. Shooting cures a lot of ills, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it does.
Indiana's brought in a ton of talent in this offseason through the portal. The portal has changed. You've seen college basketball go from where it was, which was, what I would call normalcy, to the Wild West now with NIL, with unlimited transfers, which changes teams virtually every year. What has that experience alone been like?
When I first came to went to college, as you say, it was kind of normalcy. Yeah. It was different because I would say like when you went to a college, you usually stay there for 3 or 4 years throughout your whole college career. You really don't have that many transfers. And back I would say back in 2018 before the transfer portal. But it's kind of different though now because like. With the new transfer portal rule and you can transfer how many times you ever want now. So it is really different because you got to get to know your teammates really, really, really fast. And usually you get those 2-3 years you with those guys and learning who they are. It's kind of different with the portal too now. So you just gotta. I think that last year it was kind of new for us because it was a really, really brand new team because when I first came to Indiana it was only like 3-4 transfers, and everybody else already had camaraderie on the team. But I think that's right. The reason why we took off my second year there is because we had 2 years under our belt together. We all knew each other's game, and all wanted to play for each other, and we all were brothers on and off the floor. Not to say that we weren't brothers last year. Last year, my last year there. But I just think it's kind of different though because you got new guys in there, and as you see in the first year that I was at Indy, we weren't really as successful. We made the tournament, but we had our bumps on the road along the way.
Yeah, and this year's team is even more different. They added more different players. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to think who all wasn't on the pro. It's easier to think who was already on the program. You got Galloway and Leo and McKenzie and Renew and Gabe Cups. Am I missing anybody else? Is everybody else new?
Yeah, everybody was new. Mac, McKenzie. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We really have I think we have a really solid foundation. With Trey Galloway coming back and Anthony Little coming back and Malik coming back is a big too as well as experience. And Gabe and McKenzie and Jakai too in a way because he's watched the whole thing go through as he recovered. But I think they really do have a good foundation. I think they have a lot of competitors on the team now. Not to say that we didn't have competitors. That's not throw a shot at us. But I think that team is really going to be a good team because I think they have an inside force with Balo, and they have they have the guard play too as well. Because I think that's one place we struggled in last year, including myself. Guard play was an issue.
Yeah, and you had to fight the injuries again last year, and Indiana didn't have the depth at guard that they probably needed to cover that like they do this year. But that's the one thing, man, they're deep in virtually every position now this year with guard play, with shooting. You got Gabe that has a year of experience, which he wasn't expected to get that much experience. He was on yesterday with us, by the way. Trey will be coming back, Anthony. Then they've added Rice and Carlisle, who are good players. And then Umar Ballo, he seems like a beast, man. I would not want to have to be down in that post trying to move that house.
Yeah, that's a big boy. I ain't gonna lie, that's a big boy. I think because I remember playing him 2 years ago. I messed around with Race too as well with it. He had a really good game. He had a really good game. And I've been playing pickup as I was playing pickup with him. He's a really good force on the inside, and he's really heavy set. And he gets up and down the floor very well.
And that's going to be a big change. Indiana is going to have the opportunity, X, to be so diverse next year. Like I said, they did not have the depth that they needed last year to fill in for your injuries a lot. But now not only do they have that depth at guard, but you've got a lot of options. I think Mackenzie Mbako was probably he really improved by the end of the year. I expect him to pick up from that point, move forward. They've added Luke Goody for more shooting. You've got Malik Renew, who has just tons of experience and already shown what he can do. We've seen what Ballo can do. Jakai Newton, who has been waiting in the wings. Looks like an athletic specimen. What have you seen from him?
Jakai, I haven't seen much. I haven't seen him play much. I don't think he can. I don't know what his his rehab is still going on. I really don't know. But I've seen him play a couple of times. The guy sent me a couple of film on him, and he's really athletic. And I think he's he reminds me of a lot of Westbrook because he can really jump out the gym. And he can really jump out the gym. And it kind of amazes me. Because how much he's been through with his knees and all the injuries he suffered, he just keeps working hard and coming back and I swear he's like I promise you he probably might be the best athlete I ever seen get off the floor. He gets off the floor really fast.
That's amazing. And then of course they've got the freshman and Bryson Tucker that they've added as well. So they have got a lot of new pieces this year that they just did not have last year. And what are your expectations for that team?
I expect them to honestly to win the Big Ten. They have the talent. I think they just got to put it really together. I think that they will do that, and I think the program is headed back in the right direction as well.
What is next for you? I know that you're working on these summer workouts, trying to find a roster. Where are you right now, and where are you headed?
Right now, I'm talking to Woody. I'm trying to get on the summer league team. I didn't get a summer league call, but I'm gonna just keep my head down and just stay working because then I can only control what I can control, and then that's pretty much it.
Well, obviously he has a lot of faith in you, and that has got to be good for your own psyche and mental. As you move forward, trying to navigate through all this, because it's a tough deal, man, because you're battling for a career, you're battling for your future, and it's got to be good to have someone like that in your corner. People can say this or that about Mike Woodson, but he's got the contacts in the NBA.
Oh yeah. He does. He definitely does. But the player has to put in the work too as well, because you got to prove that you can play. And I think that in my case scenario, I had a pretty good college career. Scoring 1,800 points, over 500 assists, over 500 rebounds. I think I had a pretty good stat line of saying I could really play basketball. But
and that's with injuries, people. That's with dealing with injuries 2 years in a row.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't know, but I've honestly played. If you look at the games I've played, I've honestly played less than a fifth year player. I didn't get my whole season as a fifth year. I played half of the season, played only 10 games my fifth year, and I played probably half of the season, like 15 games my last year at IU, my sixth year. But it's a blessing though, because I've seen the highs and the lows in my career, and I think that right now, I think the NBA teams are evaluating what I've already done from the past 2 years, and the injuries that added up to as well. They're trying to figure out if I'm still the same player, because I am older than a lot of NBA prospects. I'm 24. I had to already have a built-in game to be in the NBA.
Brother, we wish you the best. We will keep up and follow everything that's going on with you, and hopefully have you back on to talk about all of the benefits and the positives. I'm sure they'd love to have you on that Indiana TBT team that's coming up here in July, and that would probably be a little bit of fun for you. I mean, if you were available, win $1 million, winner take all, baby. They could use your speed.
Oh yeah. Nah, I really am eager to see them play though, because they got my old teammate with Miller Kopp. I think they have Jordy. I want to see Jordy play too as well, because he been doing some things in practice to the guys in practice last year. He can really ghost it. He can really go.
Is he still putting it on him?
Oh yeah. I wish they could show highlights, but I don't think they could do that.
Is he doing some male Caitlin Clark stuff on him?
Nah, yeah, Jordy he has really good handles, and he's really crafty with the ball, and it's crazy. Like I actually really wish I worked out with him a couple more times, more than I actually did. And I probably worked out with him probably like once, and I wish I probably worked out with him a little bit more. But he really has good handle. He knows the game, the ins outs of the game. He knows a lot. He knows a lot about the game.
So is there no chance that you'll be able to play on that team?
I mean, I don't know how you even get in it. If
I guarantee you just call them up and say, "Hey, I'm available. I'll play."
Yeah, I mean, if the opportunity presents itself, I wouldn't deny it, because I'm not doing anything special right now. I'm just working on my game. I think that's just another opportunity for people to see me play and people to see what I can do as well.
Absolutely, those games are on ESPN, man.
Yeah, it'll be fun too. I would love to sit up with my boy Miller Kopp too as well again.
Xavier Johnson, appreciate you, man. We appreciate everything you do. Tell your dad Mike we said hello. And we look forward to following what comes up next for you and having you back on, man.
Thank you. Go Hoosiers.
Thank you, sir. Xavier Johnson joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by Hoosier Hanks East, located over off College Mall Road. Make sure you stop in and enjoy their great food and a great place to catch a game. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
All right, you'll have about...
X, if there's ever anything we can do for you, man, please let me know. You're always welcome. We'd love to have you on. You're great. The people love you. And, I'd love to see you on that TBT team, man. I'm sure they'd love to have you.
I would love to too. Playing with Yogi too as well. Y'all heard
yeah. Well, you need to just. I'm going to text Jordan, man. You need to text Jordan.
Yeah, I would hope.
They don't have that many guys on there.
Nah, I don't. I was kind of wondering who they really have on the team. Besides, I've only seen like 5 players. But all those 5 players are really good players too. So. I can't wait to see them play though. I can't wait to see the backcourt with I don't know how long Jordy's gonna play, because I think his title is like a coach and player. So I don't know how long he's gonna play. So but that backcourt with him and Yogi, I think that's gonna be a really good scoring backcourt.
And then Kyle Guy actually owns a team.
He does?
Fail Harder. Yeah, I didn't know he was on with us Monday, and I'm like, he owns the team that's playing Butler. Fail Harder, and I'm like, wow, I'm surprised he's not playing.
Wait, so Kyle Guy owns the Indiana team?
The Fail Harder. The team's called Fail Harder.
Oh, okay.
They're in the same region, and they're in Butler. They're playing against Butler.
Kyle's he's a basketball fanatic because I think he has the little program thing too as well up in Indy too as well.
Dizzy runs, baby.
Yeah, he's doing really good for himself.
But yeah, I'm texting Jordan right now.
Yeah, I would hope I would take the opportunity though. Now that I'm not, I haven't got a call from somebody. I'm still waiting though. Honestly, I'm still waiting for somebody to call because they told me if somebody gets hurt, that I'll be the first call. But I'm not playing. I'm playing it by ear right now. But if the opportunity presents itself, I will go out there and play with them.
Well, that message has been sent. Boom, baby. Zex, I appreciate you, man. We'll definitely have you on again soon. Or your availability.
Yeah, I'm available. All I do is work out, so I'm always available.
Appreciate you very much, man. Tell Mike we said hello.
Thank you. I will.
Thank you.
All right, you'll just have a few seconds to wrap things up here.
That's perfect.
I won't even play the liner when we come back. Just play the music. You can talk over it, and then we can wrap it up.
Filet and enjoy it cooked to perfection in Chop Shop Steakhouse. Chop Shop Market and Table, a part of the Wild Food Group, is your butcher, baker, and fish house, no matter where you live. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this post-July 4th Friday. Thank you so much for being with us. I hope you have an incredible rest of your weekend, no matter how you spend it. Big thanks to Zach Osterman from the Indy Star, Todd Hollowell from the Major League Fishing Organization, and Xavier Johnson, former Indiana Hoosier, joining us here on the program today. Man, another fun one. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to a great weekend. And big thanks to each and every one of you. Without you, we have no reason to be here. So thanks for you guys. John, for keeping us between the white lines, as always. Until Monday, I'm Jim Coyle. Go out and have yourselves a great weekend. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports